Hi, Dad.
I heard what you said.
You said Call of Duty 3 sucked.
Well, let me tell you something, Peckerface. I worked 55 years in a steel mill.
Yes, Dad.
And I flew Spitfires over Germany in World War II.
Yes, I know.
And I will be goddamned
if anyone says Call of Duty 3 sucked. I don't think Call of Duty 3 sucks.
I just don't want to die.
Hello there, everyone. I am the Habsburg Jaw, and I know for a fact that if you've ever played a Call of Duty, chances are it probably wasn't Call of Duty 3. But for me, out of the 21 releases in the entire franchise, Call of Duty 3 was the very first real FPS experience I think I ever played as a kid, and subsequently made me play other games in the genre like the Medal of Honor series and the Battlefield series. But up until recently, I had never gotten to try the multiplayer because I had this for the PlayStation 2 originally, and honestly, I have to say, I was shocked that this game just sort of flew under the radar, because some of the base concepts of this game are pretty great. And that theme, man, Activision missed an opportunity by not making this the main theme of the series. It's right up there with Battlefield 1942's theme that Battlefield still uses to this day. The age of the game could definitely be felt while playing, and the balancing may be strange in general, but I want to go over some of the things this game got right all the way back in 2006. To start off, let's check out the basic multiplayer UI. Unfortunately, as you will notice, there's no class creation system. In fact, there's no number rank system at all, except for when you are actually in-game, which I will explain more on later. But the reason for this was most games at the time had player bases that focused mainly on the PTFO mentality. Even Halo 2 at the time had a ranking system that was based off of wins, losses, and overall skill value, where most players averaged between level 10 to 20 out of 50 levels. It wasn't until COD 4 where Infinity Ward introduced a totally new concept to the series that became the mainstay, and is basically why the OG COD up until COD 3 are basically an afterthought in the series now because of how different they are. As you can see with the leaderboards and basic UI, this was all about getting into a game and scoring as much points as you possibly could, whether that was capturing objectives, winning games, eliminating enemies, reviving allies, or just by assisting your teammates in victory. Unless you were playing Battle or Team Battle, of course, which were basically free-for-all in TDM. But as simple as it is, everything is here. Ranked lobbies are dead now, but you can see basically what the concept of it was. I mean, how much easier does it get than ranked and unranked lobbies, and how much easier does it get than creating your own lobby, searching for one, or just picking quick match? This is the kind of simplicity COD is missing today. I don't think creating your own lobby is even a thing in Call of Duty anymore, and this is the only Call of Duty that has in-game balancing, I believe. I've never seen another Call of Duty game force switch teams or even have the option to switch teams. For the game modes, most of them were objective-based, like I said. Battle and Team Battle were free-for-all and Team Deathmatch, essentially, like I said previously. Capture the Flag is pretty self-explanatory, and Single Capture the Flag is basically the same thing, only you're fighting to capture and bring back the only flag in the center of the map instead of having two flags. Headquarters is essentially what the Hardpoint game mode is now, where you have to find the objective on the map, capture it, and hold it down until the next one spawns. And finally, the War game mode that was also in World at War was basically like Battlefield 1's Frontline mode, where teams battle for control over positions on the map, and when you capture a position, the front line moves up, until you have captured all positions, or the team with the most score or captures wins when time runs out. Let's break down some of the actual gameplay and classes and such. I was fortunate enough to find a few games and a few people still playing in almost 2024, and for a game that was slapped together in basically 8 months, It may be a bit clunky, and you can't really call it historically accurate, but it still looks more like World War II than the newer World War II entries in the series aside from World at War. The German side is stuck with German weapons, and the Americans are stuck with American weapons, other than the trench gun, which is oddly the same for both teams for the medic class. Something funny I'd also like to point out is the fact that the American 50 cal is not only on the Germans' tank, but it shoots incredibly fast for some odd reason, yet the MG42 is on the German Kubelwagen. I guess the Germans just made a firing mechanism for the 50 cal that we never heard about. There are 7 classes: Rifleman, Light Assault, Heavy Assault, Medic, Scout, Support, and Anti-Tank, that are all associated with this commendation system. I honestly don't know much about the commendation system, but briefly, the private chevron on my screen is apparently my rank or commendation, and as I get more points or capture more objectives or whatever, my rank goes up to corporal and then sergeant. For instance, with the rifleman class, you get another grenade launcher shot and a smoke grenade you didn't have before once you get to corporal rank. To break down the classes a bit, for the Rifleman class, the Germans have the KAR and the Americans have the M1 Garand, and the sidearm for all classes is either the P38 pistol or the M1911 Colt 45. But you can also just pick up weapons off the ground to replace your sidearm. You also have a grenade launcher and a smoke grenade, as I said a second ago. As you can see, there is also a broken down stat sheet with each class's information as well, sort of giving you an idea what each role could be used for. This is honestly pretty similar to the Battlefield series mechanics. The Light Assault class is the SMG class, with the Germans having the MP40 and the Americans having the Thompson SMG. You are also equipped with bouncing Betty mines and sticky grenades. This class is fairly similar to the next class, the Heavy Assault class, except instead you have regular German or American style grenades and an STG-44 or M1918 BAR. Both of these classes are both pretty mobile and versatile, and although both have automatics, the Light Assault is slightly the more mobile one, while the Heavy Assault is clearly the more accurate of the two, with the auto rifles instead of SMGs. Next up is the Medic class that has the Model 1897 trench gun and a smoke grenade for both teams. Instead of a primary grenade, you have a revival syringe that you can use to revive teammates. With the smoke grenades and close range capabilities of the trench gun, this class is pretty crucial in a type of game like this. It's also pretty mobile too. The next class is probably my favorite class, the Scout class. For the Germans, you get a scoped KAR, and the Americans get the scoped 1903 Springfield, and a hand grenade as well. The unique part about this class is you get access to an artillery strike, which is honestly pretty OP. But to be fair, this entire game feels like playing hardcore mode in a modern Call of Duty game. Most weapons only take a couple shots or even just one to take someone down. Even the SMGs and the LMGs I'm about to talk about just mow players down in the right situation, especially the passenger seat MGs. So obviously the support class is the LMG class. The Germans get an MG34 and the Americans get an M1919 30 cal. And you get a hand grenade and a ammo crate for you and your allies. Most of these special equipments just take over the primary grenade slot, which is the right bumper button on the Xbox controller, by the way. You can also actually use the bipod to set up your machine gun. In fact, you can only aim with the bipod set up for LMGs. And the last class is the anti-armor class, which I'm sure is pretty self-explanatory. You get the ammo crate, just like the support class, and sticky grenades, and either the Panzerschreck or the bazooka depending on which team you're on. And you just go around blowing shit up. Like I said before, each class has its own importance and a place on the team, I feel like, which is something that would be kinda nice in Call of Duty today. is some more focus on some team-based modes and claiming victory as a team, not just yourself. Finally, to wrap this up, I'm just going to talk about some maps and show the rest of the gameplay clips I took while I was enjoying my time with the few players that still play this game. As of the time I'm recording this, there's only a couple lobbies open usually, but there are still people actually playing. COD 3 is backwards compatible for the Xbox Series X and S if you are interested in trying it out as well. For the maps, there are only about 10 maps in the base game, a bonus map I downloaded, and about 9 other maps from the DLC that I did not download. The bonus map is called Champs, and the 10 others are Argentan, Les Ormes, Verdun, Merville, Poisson, Erderdam, Fuel Plant, Mayenne, and Rouen. I've pretty much gotten to play on every map so far, and some of the clips I'm showing are from some of the more popular ones. Other than Rouen, Verdun, and Mayenne, most of these maps were pretty basic, wide open, 3-lane Call of Duty maps that we are pretty used to today. And even the 3 smaller maps I mentioned are basically just 3-lane maps as well. And like World at War, they tried to condense small areas of battles that happened in World War II, only this game was centered more around the French theater of the war, which is why I commend this game for trying to keep that feeling of that this all actually happened. The campaign has that similar vibe as well, and it translates to the multiplayer. You're just a soldier in the middle of some of the craziest battles in World War II. This is something the older Call of Duties just understood. You were just some guy answering the call to duty. Pun definitely intended. I'm sure some of you are wondering why Call of Duty 3, and to finish this out briefly, I want to bring up another game dear to maybe some of you watching, Battlefield Bad Company 2. Recently, the servers were shut down for Bad Company 2, and it's kind of the reason why I dug this old fossil out of the dirt. Games like this are becoming not only a thing of the past, but soon to be completely unplayable and will only be immortalized with videos like this. I hate to seem sappy over some video games, but a lot of the best games I and maybe some of you grew up with are becoming history themselves. Call of Duty 3 was definitely not the greatest game I've ever played, but I played it a lot as a kid, and because of that, I felt it deserved some respect. Well, I think that's about all I really wanted to cover on this game. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and to maybe see more random stuff like this. And if you have any questions or ideas you'd like to have me cover, please comment down below. Thank you so much for watching all of this. Fare thee well, everyone.